got back at least 10 hours in my week that I had just been mindlessly binging shows. And I also got back hours in my day that I had been scrolling. So that was one of my first experiments that we did and my first introduction to being a little bit less plugged in, and we loved that. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Micaela and I talk about all things motherhood and how to not just survive it, but how to actually enjoy this thing called motherhood. So I talk a lot about minimalism and creativity and my faith, and today I'm sharing my personal screen time boundaries as a mom of toddlers. And by that I mean my screen time, not the kids' screen time. We will touch on that a little bit because obviously it's related, but we will talk about why this matters, different things and strategies and boundaries I've tried, my current screen time habits, some tips I have for you if you're looking to reduce screen time, and also what it's like to balance using a screen as someone who wants to create content online. So why does this matter? Why do you need to be mindful of your screen time? I don't think we need to spend a ton of time here because you clicked on this video and that means you are already mindful of your screen time and looking, I'm assuming, to reduce your consumption. I don't have a ton of stats to share with you or anything, but I did recently learn that the average screen time per day for Gen Zers, which I am, is 7 hours a day. I am a stay-at-home mom, so it easily could slip into that territory, but that means I'm missing a whole lot of my kids' lives. And for me, that is my personal conviction as to why I want to always be looking to reduce my screen time, because I really feel strongly that I can only be present in one place. I can be present inside my phone and responding to texts and all that good stuff, or I can be present in my real life and engaging with my kids and spending time with them. I don't know if that's a personality thing. Maybe some people feel they can handle that balance better, but for me, I'm all in my phone or I'm all in real life. I just cannot multitask like that. I also find if I'm spending a lot of time on my phone, I'm not spending the time I need to process things that I'm experiencing. And sometimes I just find myself feeling anxious or sad and not knowing why. And often it's because I'm avoiding something by turning to my phone and turning to consuming content instead of processing things and being, again, present in my real life. I also find that I'm personally a lot less creative if I'm on my phone all the time reading other people's thoughts and watching videos and whatnot. It's hard for me to have my own creative thoughts and my own opinions. So I'm all about starting small with things like this. Maybe you are at 7 hours a day on your phone right now. You don't need to try and drop that number down to 1 hour immediately. But even if we try to shave off a half hour a day for a little while, that time adds up so quickly. Over a week, that's like 3.5 hours that you could be using to do something differently. A few years ago, my husband and I did something crazy. We canceled our Wi-Fi. We knew we were going to be moving soon, and we decided, let's just cancel our Wi-Fi, spend the rest of our time here without internet, and see how it goes. And honestly, we loved that experience. It was so good. We no longer had Netflix to binge, so if we wanted to watch a movie, we went to the library and borrowed a DVD, which was so much fun to narrow down our options and actually just watch a real DVD together and be more intentional about our movie choice. And I found I got back at least 10 hours in my week that I had just been mindlessly binging shows. And I also got back hours in my day that I had been scrolling. So that was one of my first experiments that we did and my first introduction to being a little bit less plugged in, and we loved that. Let me share a little bit about my current screen time usage and what that looks like. And I want to remind you that this didn't happen overnight for me. I tried so many different experiments and boundaries, and I tried different ways to fit social media into my life and see how that could work. And it took obviously a lot of experimenting and a few years of wanting to reduce screen time but not knowing how before we ended up here. So this is going to sound drastic. You don't need to hold yourself to the standard. This is about just making one small step forward, one small change to reduce your screen time. So currently we don't even have a TV set up. We moved into a new place about 8 months ago, and I told my husband I didn't want him to put it up on the wall. I just wanted to do an experiment and see how life would go without it. Honestly, we haven't really missed it. My daughter asked maybe a couple times for her shows, but she was so little that being in a new environment really, she just didn't associate it anymore. We didn't have a TV for her to look at and ask to watch her shows, so it wasn't really a problem for them. And my husband and I found we suddenly had energy to be creative again. Now, if we want to spend time together in the evenings, we'll play cards or we'll just sit and chat. We no longer have the TV on as a distraction. Of course, the nice thing is there's always the option to put on a show on our laptop, right? Or to pull a TV out. It's just a lot more work. So honestly, I thought we would do it more than we have, but it's been pretty rare. My husband and I have maybe watched a couple shows in the last 8 months, and just a couple times when the kids were sick or really sleeping horribly was when we would pull out a laptop and put on a show for them. Honestly, with the TV on, we just haven't thought about it. And of course, that could change in a different season. The weather's getting colder here in Canada, and when we're spending more time inside, we might decide to put a TV back up again. I can't say for sure, but I've been really enjoying life without it. And I also ended up deleting social media apps off of my phone. So I've gone so back and forth with social media. I always came back to Instagram because I thought I needed Instagram in order to have a creative outlet online. But since I've really gotten into blogging and started this YouTube channel, I feel like I'm able to kind of scratch that creative itch in other ways with long form content, which feels so much better for my brain when I'm consuming long form content and when I'm creating long form content. So this might be the time, now that I have an honest to goodness replacement for that creative outlet. I don't know if I'll be back on Instagram. So I know you're watching this on YouTube. Technically, I guess that is social media. The difference in my head is short form versus long form content. So I really try on YouTube not to just go and scroll through shorts. That's when I feel like I'm honestly just wasting my time and I feel more stressed out and less satisfied in my life then. But I love YouTube for watching the longer video where I'm learning something. I guess that is the difference in my head, is long form content versus short form content. So if you are looking to make changes to your screen time, I'm gonna give you 5 steps that you can follow if you would like. Number 1, start small. You don't have to go cold turkey like we did and cancel your Wi-Fi or move your TV out of the room. That works for me for some reason. I'm a pretty drastic person, but often changes are more sustainable if we do them in small steps. So just pick one experiment you want to do. That is how we saw it both when we canceled our Wi-Fi and when we decided not to put up a TV. We saw it as an experiment. I would say they were both pretty successful experiments that gave us a lot of information to go off of. But remember, no change has to be permanent. You can experiment, see how it goes, and decide to put your TV back up, or you can delete social media apps off your phone just for a week and see if you can break that, mindless desire to tap into that app. So just try an experiment. Step 2, I would recommend choosing one time of day that you want to be on screens less, just to help you narrow your focus. So maybe first thing in the morning, you're tired of being on your phone, or maybe you have kids in school and when they get home, you want to just be present with them. Pick one time of day that you want to change. Then choose what you want to do instead. I don't think it's fair to try to take something out of our lives without replacing it with something. I feel that way about everything. I feel that way about food all the time. If I'm getting rid of a certain food in my life, I need a replacement. Otherwise, I'm just going to be unhappy and frustrated and hungry. So choose what you're going to do instead. Maybe you want to read more, maybe you want to go on a walk with your kids, or you want to start doing a creative hobby again. And then step 4, set up your environment for success. So that might mean a physical barrier, like moving your TV out of the living room, putting app timers on your phone so that it locks you out of Instagram at that certain time, or downloading some kind of app. I have one, I think it's called Zen Mode. It locks me out of my phone for a set amount of time so that I can, break away from it if I'm having trouble putting it down. Or if it's first thing in the morning, start sleeping with your phone in the kitchen. Whatever it is, set up your environment for success. It's not fair to try to rely on your willpower alone. So create the environment for the habits you want. And number 5, have grace for yourself. Like I said, this is an experiment. You don't have to expect a total overnight transformation all at once. See how it goes. Run the experiment for a few days, maybe a week, and then see where you want to go from there, what you need to change to make yourself more successful, whatever it is. Okay, my notes just died. Hopefully I remember what I was gonna say. So now just for 1 minute, I wanna talk specifically to you. If you are looking to create online somehow, maybe you wanna blog, you wanna do YouTube, you love creating for Instagram, maybe you wanna make money online, whatever it is, and you feel like you have to have social media or be on your phone a ton as a part of that, I want you to know that's a lie. I used to think that too. Like I said, I kept coming back to Instagram because I thought it was the only way to have a creative outlet online and potentially one day make money online. But I'm so thankful I've learned that's not true. The problem with social media in that way is you have to keep creating and creating and creating in order to have even a small chance that people will see what you're putting out, even if they follow you. But the cool thing about something like YouTube or something like a blog is that you can create a piece of long form content, repurpose it in a ton of ways, and use it to serve people over and over and over for years to come. So unless you're some kind of major SEO expert, you can't just throw up a blog online and hope that people see it. You will need to promote it in some way, but that is why I love Pinterest. This sounds like an ad for Pinterest now. Pinterest isn't paying me to say this. I'm just obsessed with them. But truly, you can write a blog post or make a YouTube video or whatever, and then create dozens of pins just for that one post, that one URL over time that will bring people to that long form content that you so lovingly created. And honestly, I found it took about the same amount of time for me to make one Instagram reel, between coming up with an idea, filming it, editing it, putting it up, picking hashtags, and the engagement you need to do on social media before and after in order for anyone to see it. And then also getting stuck looking at pictures of my friend's baby or someone's wedding or whatever else. I found it was at least a 1 hour commitment to make one Instagram reel, whereas I will spend about that amount of time making this video, maybe 2 hours if you count, filming, editing, turning it into a blog post that also lives on my website, pinning it, sending out an email about it, all that good stuff. I'm in maybe 2 hours of work for, again, something that can serve people for years to come instead of a fleeting post that is here today and gone tomorrow. I was gonna try to make this video a little bit less biased because it sounds like I'm really against social media, but I guess I kind of am. And I heard someone say recently, we all like to view social media as neutral. Like, we compare it to a toaster. Like, you can use that toaster for good or for evil, but really, it's not like that. It's not neutral because these algorithms are so deeply designed to keep your attention stuck and focused on them and increase the amount of time that you're spending on the app. So really, social media isn't neutral. Yep, I didn't mean to get that opinionated, but here we are. That was on the podcast, Writing Off Social. That's one I highly, highly recommend if you are interested in doing some kind of creative endeavor without social media. So I think that's all I had for today. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Why are you looking to reduce your screen time? Like I said, for me, it's definitely my kids. I want to just be more present in my real life, but I would love to know what it is for you. If you have the same why or something different, leave me a comment, let me know, along with your own tips to reduce screen time. I'm always looking for more tips and encouragement and that good stuff. So definitely hit subscribe if you want to stick around here, and send this video to someone it might bless. Thanks for watching.